The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled that the Safe Third Country Agreement, STCA, can continue to be enforced. Before we get into details, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates and news. Because of the Safe Third Country Agreement, Canada is able to send the vast majority of asylum applicants who arrive from the United States back home. The arrangement that allows police to turn back asylum applicants crossing into Canada from the United States has been maintained by Canada's Supreme Court. The Safe Third Place Agreement, STCA, makes it possible for asylum seekers to be sent back to their place of origin on the grounds that they should have filed an asylum claim in the first safe country in which they landed, in this case the United States. In their legal challenge, advocates for refugees stated that the agreement infringes the rights of asylum seekers as outlined in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. More specifically, they said that the agreement infringed on asylum seekers' rights to life, liberty, and security of the person, as well as their right to equal treatment. They stated that individuals who were returned to the United States faced harsh prison circumstances, as well as the possibility of being refouled, which is the act of being deported to their place of origin against their will. In the unanimous decision that was handed down on Friday, Justice Nicholas Cassirer concurred with the finding that returning to the United States posed a danger of violating certain rights. He referred to the risk of detention upon being returned there and some aspects of detention conditions, in addition to the risk of forcible return. On the other hand, he mentioned statutory safety valves, such as discretionary exemption on the basis of humanitarian and compassionate or public policy grounds, which, at the very least in theory, are intended to safeguard those rights. Nevertheless, he stated that it may well be that, in practice, administrative decision-makers do not always construe or deploy the legislative safety valves appropriately, according to a brief of the opinion that was provided by the court. This was stated in the context of the administrative decision-makers. The decision was described as truly heartbreaking by an officer working for Amnesty International Canada named Nakib Sarwari. Despite the Safe Third Country Agreement, people who have come thousands of miles to Canada in search of a secure home will continue to do so regardless of the agreement. It will put them in further danger as they cross through unofficial ports of entry, through farmers' fields, and through relying on smugglers, Sarwari, who himself entered Canada from the United States via the unofficial Roxham Road crossing several years ago, said during a news conference on Friday. Sarwari crossed into Canada from the United States via the unofficial Roxham Road crossing. Co-executive director of the Canadian Council for Refugees, Gauri Srinivasan, told reporters that the decision has mixed results for refugees and refugee rights in Canada. As a result of the verdict, the matter will be sent to lower federal courts so that they can investigate whether or not the agreement between the United States and Canada breaches the rights of asylum seekers or equality before the law as outlined in Canada's Charter of Rights. She stated that because the lower courts had not previously rendered a ruling on that particular aspect of the matter, there was a legal avenue available for challenging the agreements. The United States is not a safe country for refugees, and our organizations have brought overwhelming evidence that sending people who are seeking safety here back to the United States causes serious violations of rights that are protected both under the Canadian Charter and international law, Srinivasan said on Friday. She stated that there had been no new developments in the hazards that refugees confront at the border since the last time she had spoken with us. We will not relent in our demand that the government withdraw completely and immediately from the Safe Third Country Agreement. However, the agreement between the United States of America and Canada did not apply to any informal border crossings when it first entered into effect in 2004. This year, former Vice President Joe Biden of the United States and current Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau announced a revised deal that would include the entirety of the border. This action came about as a result of political pressure that was being put on Trudeau to handle an upsurge in illegal border crossings, the great majority of which were occurring in the eastern province of Quebec. In 2022, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police had apprehended more than 39,000 people seeking asylum in Canada after they had illegally crossed the border into the country. The federal government of Canada has come out in support of the deal, stating that it does not violate the rights of asylum seekers for the United States to treat them in any way, and that there are sufficient protections in place. In accordance with the Safe Third Country Agreement, which has been in place between the United States of America and Canada since December 2004, both countries have independently declared that the other is a safe place for migrants. As a result, the United States and Canada border is now closed to the vast majority of those seeking asylum as refugees. Due to the fact that the United States is not a secure country for all refugees, the Canadian Council for Refugees is vehemently opposed to the agreement. Additionally, the CCR criticizes both the intent and the outcome of limiting the number of refugees who are eligible to seek asylum in Canada. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association, CCR, has reiterated its demand that the Canadian government withdraw from the Safe Third Country Agreement. Shortly after the policy was put into place, the CCR took part in a judicial action that aimed to overturn the status of the United States as a safe third country. The ruling of the federal court that the United States of America does not qualify as a safe third nation was overruled on appeal due to technical reasons. In July of 2017, the CCR became involved in a fresh legal challenge alongside other organizations. The CCR has made the following requests to the government. Stop immediately the practice of returning people who have claimed the right to refugee status to the United States and put an end to the Safe Third Country Agreement.
Let's go.
Why are refugees making their way to the northern border? As a result of the extreme immigration policies implemented by the Trump administration, including the decision to cancel temporary protected status, thousands of refugees, many of them from Haiti, have sought refuge in Canada. Although many have chosen to exit the U.S. immigration system because it is so backlogged that it takes years to get in front of an immigration judge, the waves of asylum seekers have changed from continents and nations. In comparison, the diversified nation of 40 million people in Canada has a reputation for being more hospitable and simpler to settle. Biden and Trudeau declared they would strengthen the agreement to reject unauthorized crossings, forcing them to use regular ports of entry to present their cases under the few conditions that would permit them to enter. This was announced during Biden's visit to Canada. In accordance with the new agreement, Canada promised to grant asylum to 15,000 more citizens of Western Hemisphere nations. One day after Biden and Trudeau announced their new agreement, Roxham Road was officially closed on March 25 at midnight. However, as per U.S. Federal Register rulemaking, the two nations signed the enlarged policy a year ago, as early as March 2022. According to statistics from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, about 40,000 persons entered Canada illegally from the United States in 2022. Experts have observed that the majority entered Quebec via Roxham Road. Nearly all border crossings into Canada in 2023 reached more than 4,000 per month, almost exclusively through Quebec. However, it decreased to 85 persons by April, the first full month after the new agreement went into effect. Early in 2023, an isolated section of the border between New Hampshire and New York saw an uptick in Canadian immigration, which alarmed House Republicans and led them to create the Northern Border Security Caucus. This was it for this video. Like, comment, and share this video. Also hit that subscribe button if you're new to our channel. Thanks for watching.